trip for me.
In the mid to late 90s, a mysterious VHS circulated in the underground tape trading scene. The video was 4 hours in length and featured over 50 different cinematic scenes, all written, performed, directed, shot, and edited by a man named Laz Rojas. On this tape, he meticulously portrayed over 100 characters, every man, woman, and child, creating a universe populated entirely by himself.
Hi, how are you? Pleased to meet you. Ow!
The motives and ambitions behind this enthralling solo work remained unknown until now.
Welcome to the show that reveals the beautifully complex and unique minds behind the world's most inadvertently insane movies, where primal enthusiasm and raw ambition trump formal training. Beyond Hollywood and beneath the underground, there lies the outside.
My name is Zach Carlson, and I've dedicated my life to unearthing the strangest films and videos I can find.
I would seriously dig through a sewer for 2 weeks to try to find this tape.
Perhaps the most curious find I've come across is the Laz Rojas Tape. I've never seen a work that is so singular that it appears to have been made 1,000 miles from another human. One of the most mesmerizing scenes is where Laz plays one woman seducing another.
I think you're the prettiest girl I've ever seen.
In an astonishing feat of DIY camera trickery, Laz achieves complex sequences which include caressing his own head while partially wearing both characters' costumes. But reality crumbles completely with the kiss. There's no one else besides Laz in the room. A closer look reveals lipstick on a mirror. Years after its completion, Laz's work entered the LA underground tape trading scene, where devourers of the obscure enjoyed his unique one-man films. Sundance Film Festival programmer Mike Plant is one of these connoisseurs.
Laz Rojas demo tape.
How did you encounter this?
In the 90s, when the internet started, one of the first huge thing was just tape trading. And Rojas's tape just immediately rose to the top, because it's okay, it's this one guy and he's doing all the roles and we can't tell. We were trying to figure out if someone else was in the room. The camera's never moving. So you just watch it over and over again. You try to figure out how he did it. You try to figure out why he did it. And then you give it to somebody else. And they, of course, can't stop watching it, so they need their own copy. And just naturally really took off. It's art. It's something, there's nothing else like it.
Right.
We came out to Los Angeles to speak with Laz to find out about his story and why he made the tape. He and his mother have lived here for decades, so we were curious why he asked us to meet them at a motel.
Hello, I'm Zach.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Oh. So you were born in New York?
New York City. In 1962. Most of my youth was in New York City. I was into drawing and writing, so I was always writing little short stories, drawing little cartoons, comic strips, and all that.
And you knew that you wanted to be involved in something creative right away?
Oh, yeah. My parents bought me a movie camera for my 10th birthday. So instead of just writing short stories or drawing cartoons, I could now animate cartoons, and I could also film little skits and movies. The first little movies that I shot on Super 8mm were all science fiction stories. One of them was called The Martian Invasion. So I had this little set that I had made out of cardboard, a little city. And all I did basically was just set it on fire.
When did you feel like you wanted to start performing?
One day I saw an ad in a paper for this acting school, and then all of a sudden it came together. It was like, this is a no-brainer. This is what I should do. Because I just become the character, like a chameleon.
What do you write? No, don't tell me. Novels? Songs? Poetry? I know. Movies. Everyone in LA writes movies.
We moved out here in 1987. When I got here, it was like, this is where I was meant to be. It was like instant love affair on my part. I must have lived here in a previous life. It felt more at home than New York ever had. I couldn't wait to get out of there. It was like New York City was like dead to me. By that time, the acting was starting to take a back seat to my screenwriting and my filmmaking. By about 1986, I'd written my first feature-length script, because my idea was to try to get a project off the ground that I could write and direct and also act in. After like 5 or 6 years, I found myself completely stuck. I wasn't getting anywhere at all. And that's when I came up with the idea for my one-man showcase. I thought, I need to do something that nobody else is doing, something that breaks all the rules, that'll really catch people's eye. Why not put all of it in just one package? Select a few scenes from different scripts, act them myself, shoot it myself, edit it myself, and then submit these to agents, managers, producers, production companies, so that way they could see Laz, the total package. So I said, let's just take the plunge. Whatever the character is, whoever they are, just do it. It's a big undertaking for one person. I'd set it up on a camcorder right next to a TV set. I'd sit in front of it and, adjust myself and the lights and everything until I had everything set up exactly the way I had envisioned it in my head.
Am I supposed to feel sorry for him?
You're supposed to feel the way a son feels about his father.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh, Chris, go to him now, please. Why? Give me one good reason why. After what he did to us, maybe you've forgiven him, but as far as I'm concerned, he already died 18 years ago. You may be a grown man with a family of your own, but I will not let you talk about your father that way.
The editing process then, I did it with 2 home VCRs. So I would have one playback and one recording. So 2-person scene, it's pretty straightforward, just 2 tapes, each character on a tape. Like, tape A had character A, tape B had character B. I'd pop in character A's tape into the playback machine. I'd cue up the recording machine. This is something else that was very complicated because those machines were very imprecise. If you press the record button, a little bit of time would elapse before the heads would actually get into gear and they would start recording. This is something that I had to figure out by trial and error until in my mind I could actually count off the tenths of a second that it would take for it to engage. Eject tape A, pop in tape B, cue that up to that character's bit over and over again. So I'd be swapping tapes back and forth, editing it linearly. Back then it took me sometimes days. I spent 6 months on the first 42 scenes. There was a lot of trial and error and very arduous process.
Ah, damn. I can't do this, damn it. What the hell is that?
Piece of shit. No, that sucked. That was awful. Where did this nail come from? Oh, boy.
Oh, great. Son of a bitch.
It's ridiculous trying to do this by myself.
I was living in a world of my own, and I got lost in it.
And this just became something that the whole family was used to. Were you ever surprised by the characters?
No. Sometimes I used to help in dress up.
Were some of them yours that you guys would?
Yeah, he used some of mine.
Was your father involved at all?
No.
My father, he would sit and watch TV on his own. And when I was doing these things, he could not watch TV. Looking back on this, I don't like it, especially since he passed on. But there were times when I had to basically order him around and tell him, I can't have any noise in the background or anything. And he'd have to go into the bedroom and shut the door. And I basically took over the house when I was doing this.
What was the first thing that you did with the finished product?
I started sending it out to agents, casting directors, managers, production companies. And yet, I got no response. And that really stunned me. One producer told me that I had no talent and that I would never get anywhere in the business. That was the only time that somebody actually responded. And after about 4 years or so of that, I decided to just put it aside. Looking back on it, the reaction was that people didn't know what to make of it.
Are you guys having a tech moment? Okay.
Let's cut here for a second.
Okay. So
I wish I were in better shape because then I'd be even more on top of my game.
Well,
I don't sound, to myself, I don't sound as clear as I normally do.
I think you're doing just fine.
really,
Yeah.
like genuinely doing really
Yeah.
good.
Ever since we've been, basically living out on the street, pretty much at the mercy of whatever's going on out there. Okay, right now we're leaving the motel where we stay for the first half of the month. And first stop will be the street where we park overnight to sleep during the second half of the month. There are times when I wake up and I think I'm like in an alternate universe. It's like I had lived my life for 50 years, and then all of a sudden, everything changed. I thought the time had finally come where I was going to get some kind of career traction. And suddenly a big brick wall suddenly appears in front of you, all of a sudden out of the blue, bang! Everything just came to a complete stop.
Laz told us that his identity was compromised 3 years back and the family's savings wiped out. He and his mother were unable to recover the funds, and they were evicted from their apartment soon after.
All the money in my bank account disappeared. I had like 20 grand just vanished. Now, I had excellent credit for 25 years. All of a sudden, I had no cash at the moment. I had to try to juggle, pay part of my rent and part of the credit cards. And once that ran out, I fell behind. And after it took only 4 months, we got evicted. So at 4:30 a.m., we arrive here. There's a water fountain over there, so I always go and get some water. And then we have breakfast right here.
You eat in the car?
Yeah, in the car.
What do you typically have for breakfast? Like what type of stuff?
Here in the car, just bread, some granola bars. When we're at the motel, of course, we have, we can cook there with the microwave, so we have oatmeal and other things, but here it's very limited. Right now, we're in the parking structure where we come after using the restrooms around 5 a.m. I'll admit that there are times when I really miss my privacy. I mean, no matter how much you may love a mother or a father, to be cooped up with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, especially in a car, is quite a bit to get used to. So I basically have had absolutely no privacy. This is where we park, right here. And we have lunch there, then we have dinner. Then after that, when the mall closes, it's back into the car, back into the street, to sleep there overnight. Then the next day, again. Then when the first comes along, the checks come in, then boom, back into the motel for another 15 days, and then again. It's like a vicious cycle.
Can you tell me what it's been like to go through this difficult time together and how it's affected you as a family?
On my part, there are times when I wish she wasn't involved in it because I see the toll that it has taken on her.
I mean, is this a situation where you feel fear, or do you just...
Fear all the time. I don't sleep. I always looking around,
Yeah, I'm always telling her, close your eyes, Mom. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep, Mom.
She sleeps even less than I do.
Because the fear.
Do you also feel like this has brought you two closer?
We have always been close. Because it's my only son, But now more because I try to comfort him. Everything is gonna work out. We're gonna get the lottery to keep him with some hope.
So there are times when it feels like it's just gonna go on like this forever. And this past year has felt like being dead while still alive. It's like I'm going absolutely nowhere. I can see my time, my life being wasted. Very mentally and emotionally debilitating. Okay, ma, ya me voy.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, no te preocupes, que tranquila. Okay.
Cualquier cosa llama y deja saber a la gente del hotel que me den el recado.
Okay.
Take care of him.
A little bit worried about leaving my mom.
For the past 3 years, Laz's work and his family's history has gathered dust in a storage space 30 miles away. Laz took us along as he unearthed his belongings and unfinished projects for the first time since he lost his home.
Oh my God, this is my life here. It's frozen in time. Good God. The initial impact of seeing this and saying, this is my life and my mother's life. When this started, I expected maybe 3 months at the most.
Right.
3 months. This is all the raw footage from my one-man showcase. Now look at this. This is one of the original copies that I would send out back in 94 and 95. That's a list of the characters.
Party animal number 3.
Yeah. That's the black rapper.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I started doing these scenes for the showcase, I wanted to try to portray as many different looks as possible as well. There was a boy and a girl who were 10 years old. And they're middle-aged characters and actually an extraterrestrial military officer. Different nationalities, Jewish, there's Italians, then there's some African Americans. Really wide range of characters in that. These are the those Playboy video centerfolds.
Oh, the music video.
Yeah. Sometimes I almost regret having done the female characters because in some people's mind that has overshadowed all the other aspects of the project. The way they see things.
They make assumptions.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of flack on the internet about that.
Like what kind of stuff?
People saying that I'm gay, which I'm not.
But you didn't catch flack for playing a black character or for playing other ethnicities?
That, interestingly, I've only seen one incident of that on the internet. I went to a website once and somebody went, oh, blackface? No. But in my own point of view, if they weren't there, that would be worse. And there'd be people saying, oh, there's no black people in there. You've excluded them. So I just did what I felt I needed to do to make this project as all-encompassing as possible. Good Lord. That's what got me started, movie making. This is the camcorder that I shot the entire showcase on. Yep, these are all the scripts that I've written. This is the way I did storyboards back in the mid-'80s. It's a novel that I never completed. If tomorrow I were to get killed in a car crash, I never got a chance to even make one movie, all of that stuff stayed in here and scribbled on sheets of paper in all these boxes. All of this cannot have led up to this premature termination, and then there's nothing after that. I really feel that that's my destiny. And maybe I have to prove myself by sticking with it and never giving up. That just staying with it, eventually it is going to come true. Otherwise, everything has been a waste.
Still in constant pursuit of his ambitious dreams, Laz's focus is now on making Absolutely Smashing, a 1960s-themed spy film series. He's already written the first 6 feature-length installments, which he plans to both direct and star in.
Now I have this latest project, which is what I have basically devoted the rest of my life to getting off the ground.
In most cases, somebody who has faced decades of adversity might consider giving up on their quest. But Laz is so devoted to his dream of being a filmmaker, of being an actor, that he cannot leave Los Angeles even though the city has turned against him and left him and his mother homeless.
Sometimes I look back and wish I had done things differently. I focused so much on this dream that I didn't live a life. Friends, relationships, all of that was secondary. All the things that I have not done with my life, all that I've missed out on, if I had to do it over again, I would. When I made this choice to pursue this, it was like, this is my destiny. For some people, it happens early in life. For other people, it happens later in life. Maybe I'm one of those who's going to be a late bloomer. Maybe the latest bloomer of all. But I still believe this is what I'm meant to do. And the only thing that'll convince me it isn't is if I die before it happens.
Like us, the curators of LA Theater, the Cine Family, were very moved by Laz's story. Even though his audition tape was never intended to be viewed by an audience, they wanted to collaborate with us to organize the first ever public screening of his work.
I've been a big fan for a long time. I definitely want to hold Laz's presence back a little bit and kind of like walk people through it from a discovery side, playing a series of clips and then you explaining the tech as much as anything.
Is there anything that you definitely do or don't want to have happen at the show on Monday?
I really can't say.
You're wide open?
Yeah, wide open. Good. Or whatever you want to do, I'm good.
What do you think?
Unreal. When I first came out here, I was just 24. I expected to see something like this within the first 5 years. And it's been years now that I didn't think I'd ever see it at all. So this is, whoa.
What is outsider cinema? To land on one of my favorite outsider artists, one who maybe the intent wasn't even to be an outsider artist, but the results were.
Know the extent of their crimes, but until their capture, they served as leaders of the Red Velvet Underground, a movement which no doubt you are aware has caused the Empire a sizable amount of concern.
What you guys are seeing is the theatrical premiere with Laz Rojas in person. He has never watched any of his work with an audience before.
I think what we're saying is you guys should really give it up in a big way for a man who's deserved it for a long time. Mr. Laz Rojas!
I'm really overwhelmed by all this. The only thing that's gotten me through these past 3 years is the dream. The dream of being finally able to get some of my projects out there. I'll be quite honest. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have anything to live for. I could not have gotten through these 3 years. I would have said, that's it, let's pack it in. I've even contemplated, I'll be very honest, I even contemplated suicide a few times over these past 3 years. And the only reason I haven't done it is I still have the same dream I had when I was a little boy, of getting all those things in my head, all those characters, all those stories, all those worlds that are in there, up there on the screen. That's what I'm living for, and that's why I keep going from day to day.
The unbelievable Laz Rojas!
Thank you very much from all 100 of us.
1, 2, 3,
I never envisioned something like this happening, especially right now, the way my life has been going. This is just mind-boggling. To see all these people who have been so touched, I never envisioned back then when I did this that it would touch so many people. This is the first time I've ever signed autographs for anybody. This has really helped get me out of that bad place that I've been in. I mean, it has really dug me out of the grave. I could feel the love.
Are you looking forward to sharing your experience with your mother?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. My one regret is that she wasn't able to be here. And couldn't have asked for better parents. They made a lot of sacrifices to see that one day I might be able to fulfill that dream.
All right, can I steal a hug from you?
Oh, of course.
We came out to Los Angeles to meet Laz Rojas, and most importantly, we were able to take him into a situation where he finally felt like a human again after being homeless for 3 years. And he finally was able to be appreciated for his work. Everybody just enveloped him in this absolute warmth. All the entertainment that he has given has now, in some small way, been returned to him. So this really has been a perfect night for a filmmaker that we really, truly respect.